We are on. There we go. Welcome back. So after a little Christmas and New Year sabbatical of, I don't know, it feels like about 7 months because lockdown, but I think it was only about 3 weeks. We're back. Welcome. There you
Hello.
go. Hello. So those of us listening on podcast, that little pregnant pause, Charlie was like nodding, but it's a thing. So obviously back with Charlie from CB Nutrition, at CB Nutrition _ on Instagram. There you go.
Good. Early plug.
3 seconds in, we're plugging. That's what we need. Just answering a couple of questions that we've had, the usual kind of Q&A setup, but also like a really informal, just a really informal kind of catch up and how you're doing, really. So I feel like if we just jump into a couple of questions straight off the bat, and then I'm sure at some stage or other we'll tangent off and start talking bollocks as we go, as seems to be the way with these.
We normally do, yes.
Yeah, that. On the start of things, actually, I'm going to take a moment just to toot my own horn, if I may. If you follow me on social medias, which you definitely should do, I posted up a thing a while ago being quite chuffed with myself. I live in Berkshire, darling, and we have a charity called Get Berkshire Active. And I got nominated by a few of my members and a few clients to win the, I forget what it's called, like Lockdown Activity Hero Award. And I won it, which is awesome. So I got a nomination for that, and the email come through from Get Berkshire Active. And the best bit about it is I haven't got to go to a big gala dinner and dress like a tuxedo penguin because obviously COVID. So they're doing like a virtual award ceremony, which is amazing.
Lovely.
So I won an award, and I haven't got to dress like an arsehole. So
nice. Charlie Knight, MBE.
Yes,
that's on the cards.
MBE. Yeah, I think I should get an MBE just for lending kit out to people. I think
that's true.
Basically, like a hero now. That's the thing.
Services to gains.
100%. Lord Knight. I think that sounds good. I'll go with that.
Yeah.
I'll go with that.
And the manor would just be a gym.
Yeah.
That would be the manor. Yeah.
That might be it. I think there'll be like murals of me on gym walls soon. You know, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, that famous one where his arms are out, it's got like conquer written across it. It'll just be me going like, it depends.
Quite big gym walls, I hasten to add.
Fairly large gym walls, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like external would be the best bet. I think that's the only fitting one.
I think so, yeah.
That's it. Internal just doesn't quite give me the credence I deserve, frankly.
No, you have to get the lighting right, don't you?
100%. Yeah. Talking of lighting, and this is again just me bouncing. If you're on YouTube, I apologise for the glare bouncing off my head because the light's a little bit bright. I could probably turn it down. There we go. There we go. Right. And also Charlie looking fabulous, wafting his hair in the background there.
Launching what you haven't got, mate.
Showing off. Doing his hair anyway. Right. Let's do questions. So I had a couple of good ones. I had a few absolute shockers, and we'll just brush past those because I feel like people are taking the piss, which is absolutely fine and very welcome. But for a first one, let's have a couple of good questions in. So relevant to the fact we're back in lockdown and a few people are opening gyms, I know bits and pieces like that. These questions, or the first one I got before gyms got locked in again, or before we got locked down again. But it's one that I feel like is quite relevant anyway. So it's one of the guys, Matt, who's asked questions before. So shout out, Matt. Thanks, mate. He asked about training volume coming back from lockdown. So it depends. Shock. Drink. It depends on your activity through lockdown, I think, and also what that activity was to what it normally is. So if you're in a gym under normal circumstances 4 times a week, and those 4 sessions include weightlifting, barbells, plates, racks, that sort of stuff. Then all of a sudden you've been thrown into a lockdown where you are a couple of months without that usual equipment, and you're doing bodyweight workouts at home, or you're taking the dog for a walk, or you're just getting your steps in, or doing whatever you can to keep yourself active. Then training volume, I don't think needs to change all that much, but certainly the amount of stuff you're doing within the sessions. So again, this is a bit of a tangent we could go off onto. So in terms of volume, as in days a week training or reps per session, or the load, indeed. Sort of if you're squatting 100 kilos for 5 before lockdown, maybe the load's got to decrease a little bit. In terms of training volume, I think the biggest cover-all answer for that is it depends on your ability to recover and kind of adapt to those changes. So if you've been months out of the gym, and you're going back to the gym when we're allowed to go out and play again, suck it and see. Like, just see what happens. Start slow and build up. It might be that you sort of go into it really, really not underrating. I don't know, underestimating is what I'm looking for. Underestimating yourself and kind of going through and saying, well, I did do X, and you've got 150 reps in a workout, which is horrendous. That's a lot of reps. But let's go with it. I've committed, so we're going to go there now. You're training for 7 hours because powerlifters.
Yeah.
But you've got a bunch of reps in the workout. You're probably going to drop the reps a little bit, but then the next day you might feel absolutely fine. And the following day and the following day and so on. So you're just going to kind of up the reps that you do through those workouts as you go through. And there's a little bit trial and error. But I don't think there's a cookie cutter, lower it by X percentage or X days or whatever it is. Just kind of get back in and start doing, I think is the best answer for that one. I don't know. What would you think on that?
Yeah, mate, your area. So, yeah, people, basically, if you can't walk the next day, like, that's not the sign that you've got the volume right. That's a sign that you've not got sufficient capacity to deal with whatever load that you did. Like, if you really are that sort. So aim to be before that. So like you said, try it and see. But yeah, always underestimate or go further, scale back more than you think you should, I think is probably a safe bet. I'll be tiptoeing into the gym, doing a couple of bicep curls and then coming out because it's been quite a while since I've lifted anything.
Perfect.
So
I feel like you picked the best exercise to go back in and do as well. I think there'll be a queue for the squat rack to do bicep curls in. Definitely.
I hope so. And I'll be at the front of that queue, so it won't matter. I'll camp out overnight to make sure that I will be the first man curling in that squat rack.
In your gains tent.
Absolutely.
Like the release of a new Apple product.
Yeah, pretty much.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I like that. So, yeah, it depends. Go in, see what you get on with. Build from there. It's kind of, I mean, ultimately, it's one of those kind of really trite Buddhist monk-esque sayings of like, you know your body and your capabilities better than anybody else does. So like me as a coach, I've got, this is influencer wanker alert, loads of people ask me all the time. They don't, but several members of the club and clients and everything else kind of go like, I've had a couple of weeks off. What should I be doing in the gym? How should I feel on this? What weight should I put on that? Like, I don't know. That's your body. I know what you were doing before a break, but coming back from a break, we're kind of starting off again. We'll get a rough idea, but let's see what happens. Go in, lift some weights. Let's see how that feels. Then we can build from there.
Yeah.
Start from 1. You'll probably find yourself back at 10 again in not a lot of time, but start from 1, definitely.
Yeah. I think something we've mentioned before is that strength and muscle come back a lot quicker than it takes to gain them in the first place. So if you've had it before but then lost it, you will lose strength over a period of weeks. But it will come back in a period of weeks as well. So don't like chase it too hard because wishing it was there when you know it's not there. Just wait for it to come back because it comes back pretty quick.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, we've definitely done that. If you write yourself off in the first weeks, you go too hard, then it won't come back because you can't train. So maybe sort of take it easy to start with so that you actually guarantee that you'll be there a month later injury free.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, we've definitely touched on that before. It's just the whole like strength will come back, but skill is really, really hard to get back. So hopefully whilst you've been out of the gym, you've been sort of keeping as mobile as you can or keeping as active as you can. Try and keep the skill levels high, especially for sports like Olympic lifting where skill level is massive. So trying to get into overhead squat positions after throwing a bar into the air and trying to catch it for a snatch. If you lose that skill, that takes a lot longer to get back than the strength you had in the first place. So yeah, absolutely. Just keep moving as much as you can. Yeah, that's kind of it really, isn't it?
I think so.
Sweet. Nice. That was wrap up. Like it. So question number 2 was from my mate Socks, not his real name. His real name's Will, but when I first met him, he worked for a sock company, so he got nicknamed Socks.
Original.
Yeah, I thought so. I was quite proud of that one. But now he doesn't work for a sock company. He's still called Socks.
Oh.
So, yeah. Now it's original because no one knows what it doesn't make any sense.
That's true. Yeah.
So, yeah. I should have not explained it because that's a crap part of the story. But anyways, it is what it is. Socks asks, how do you balance energy for workouts and energy for other things like work and kids, etc.? Now, I feel like this is going into a really fluffy area of our industry, which is one that's often overlooked because there's a lot of kind of black and white and there's very little grey in terms of people like this answer, definitive, and they don't really exist. So I've kind of got an answer for this, but it's not concrete. if that makes sense. This is very much
Yeah.
opinion based. I don't know is the honest answer. And again, I think it depends on the individual drink. It depends on how you're asking the question. So how do you balance energy for workouts and for other stuff? I mean, we covered this off in an episode recently, and I think there's a little bit of when do you feel good to work out / when are you most productive in a workout for all the rest of the stuff you need to get done. So, for example, I know Socks is like one of the busiest men I know. It's ridiculous. Got like 87 jobs on the go. He's just had a new kid. His wife is a doctor at local hospital. So like they're busy people. Yeah. So finding any time to do a workout is a bonus. But like it's very much dependent on the individual. If you feel good when you wake up first thing in the morning, smash a coffee down, and you're like, right, I can do 20 minutes on my spin bike, or I can get some steps in. I'll go for a little jog, or whatever it's going to be. That's awesome. If at 6 o'clock in the morning when your alarm goes off, you just roll over and go, oh my God, this sucks. Then maybe you go at lunchtime. If you take a bit of a break at lunchtime, get 20 minutes in, come home, smash like a bit of food, bit of lunch, and back to work, or after work in the evening. It's kind of whenever you can fit the time in, I think is important, but also when do you feel best doing it? So I really struggle training first thing in the morning because I know I've got the day ahead of me and I've just got that in my head. So I've got things that I need to get done that day. And if I'm in the gym for an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours in the morning, I'm not as productive then. So if I can get all my stuff done, then I'll train when I'm finished. Or I find I've got a little bit more time to kill. And then I'm not worried about things like chasing my tail, if that makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. It's a swift answer. What's your sort of take on it all? What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's really not a vague question, but the answer is sort of vague. Like energy itself is a sort of vague concept. Like if we looked at it from like a biological level, it's very different to like your perception of how much energy you've got, as in like drive to do things, which is probably what people more look at energy for. And in that sense, there's no. Sorry.
So I say that would kind of fit into motivation, would it not? Like...
Yeah, effectively, yeah. And I think it's a bit of a blurry line when people talk about energy in that way. It's a bit of a blurred line between that and motivation. So I think there's no real difference between all of those different like subcategories. Like you don't have energy for one, like a different tank for all of them necessarily. I think they all pull from the same tank, and that it then becomes more about priorities, doesn't it, really? Which we've spoken about before, in that if you've got all these things going on, like baby, jobs, partner's job, all these things, if you're not elite, then it's not a priority and it comes after those things. So like you said, you can manage when you do it in the day so that you take advantage of when your energy is highest. But if you're pulling from a limited resource and you've got limited resources to give to it, you can do your best with like sleep around a newborn where possible, with food, with all those things that you probably can give you more perception of energy. But you are limited by how much energy you have by all of these different things. So all you can do is maximize how much you pour into that cup of energy with all like stress management, with sleep, with nutrition, with proper periodized appropriate training for you, and then choose the best time to empty that cup on training, and then choose the best training to get the most bang for your buck in the limited time that you've got, for example. So depending on your goals, like if you were looking to do strength training, you're probably not going to do a 2-hour powerlifting session because you haven't got 2 hours. So powerlifting probably isn't for you right now, but you could probably do enough volume with enough intensity to get stronger or whatever, gain more muscle mass, things like that in a short period of time. You could probably do a 20-minute bike session. You could do intervals rather than doing 2 hours of steady state cardio, which isn't going to happen based on your energy levels and schedule. Try and get the same sort of benefits, similar like level of benefit in a short amount of time, by managing intensity and volume.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts.
Yeah. Nothing I disagree with that. It's like I say, it's so dependent on the individual, and there's a lot of questions attached to it.
Yeah.
And yeah, like what are you training for is another big sort of factor in that as well. You know, something you tapped on there is it's kind of time available as well. If you're one of those that sort of fortunate enough to have some kit at home that you can carry on doing your training. If you manage to sort of borrow or buy a bar and some plates, some other bits and pieces. There was fairly recently, I say recently could be any time in the last 5 years, when I say recently, it could be fucking anything. But there was a fair amount of research done onto kind of splitting your training up. So rather than doing a 2.5 hour session now, can you do sort of like 2 1 hour or 3 sort of 45 minute sessions in a day and get the same results? And actually, I think, if I remember rightly, there was a kind of big thing about if you split it up, it either makes zero difference or it's better because you can kind of work harder through those lumps. So if you sort of wake up in the morning and you go, right, I'll get my cardio done now, and you go for like a 20-minute pace of whatever that's going to be on your bike, on the road, or whatever you're doing, and that's cool. And then you can get like another sort of half hour, 45-minute weight session in later, and you might hit, I don't know, clean and jerks and some front squats. Maybe that's a hell of a lot of legs. That's an awful combination, but you're there. And then like later on, you do another sort of 25-minute, 45-minute session on sort of like your accessory bits, like your fluff. That's probably quite an efficient way of training if you've got that time to spare. So if you can't just sit down, like you say, and hit a massive 2-hour powerlifting session in one hit, you could probably split that into little sections and kind of get each block of that session done at a different time of the day.
Yeah.
And the chances are you're probably going to have a little bit more energy for each block.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at CrossFit, for example, they have to be able to do so many different things, and that's how they train. They don't just train for 6 hours and then pack it in. They'll train, have a break, food, etc. Sponsor some Reebok stuff on Instagram, and then they'll go back and train again. That sort of shit. Like,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think it depends from like an energy perspective, like calorie perspective. Again, there's no real difference. Like, you don't have calories for training and calories for parenting. If your calorie intake isn't sufficient, then you might be able to get through training all right, albeit through like with limited intensity, and you'll feel crap. But if you're left with no calories left to do any of the other things and no energy left to do everything else, then it's going to feel pretty shit pretty soon. So all those things, they all require energy. You'll expend energy doing them. Even thinking about them, you'll expend energy. So you need to make sure that you're eating. And it might surprise people how many calories they've burned doing all those things. So I always like something I'm passionate about, in that if you've got enough energy to train, but you've got no energy left to be a parent, partner, friend, student, whatever it is, then you should probably be looking to increase your energy intake.
Yeah, 100%. And there's the NEAT. So where you're doing life, just doing things, you've got NEAT, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Yes, nailed it.
It is.
So yeah, all the things that you're just doing will be burning calories off as well. So you don't just burn calories when you go to the gym.
Yeah,
that's quite important to know. Yeah, so like all the stuff you do will help with the kind of calorie burn if that's your thing. Just little bits. I think there was a fair amount of research into like standing desks, and like just standing up to work. I think that kind of, even that just helps increase activity.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the study was now. I read one a little while ago, again recently, some point since 2015. But I read a thing, and there was a lot about that. So I might try and dig that out and post it, because that was quite interesting. But like, obviously, it's everybody working at home now, and you can, not that I'm saying everyone go out and get standing desks. So I think desks and like stationary stuff are as hard to come by as like barbells at the minute.
Yeah, standing desks aren't cheap as well. Make your own. Get some hardback books. Stack your laptop on top. Stand up.
Yeah, I feel like worktop works well.
Yeah.
And then you're near the snacks, so win-win.
There you go.
Happy days.
Yeah. But no, I think it was Levine who did a lot of the early NEAT stuff and showed that between people that like lost weight and didn't, NEAT was the difference in like whether they were losing weight or not. So when people say, oh, they've got a faster metabolism than me or something similar, they haven't. They're either eating less than you or they're moving more than you day to day.
Active.
Like, if you're saying that, but you're Barbara with an office job and they work as a labourer, it's nothing to do with their metabolism. Your son hasn't got this ridiculous metabolism. He's on his feet all day. And Barbara, you drive to work and then sit down and then drive back. Shame on you. So
bad.
Carly says get a stand-up desk.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you need to get hold of HR and insist that they order you a stand-up desk. Yeah.
And they'll say no, and then bring in some human rights dispute or something and say it's your right to be.
Yeah, then you just get in touch with unions.
Yeah, exactly.
It definitely shows I'm self-employed. I have no idea how this works.
No, I'd imagine you go and tell your boss and then threaten them with a lawsuit. That's what I saw in like Suits and Billions. They all do that sort of
100%.
thing.
And Power, they did the same there. Just things like blocks of cocaine and cash and stuff. So I think that's how it works in like Boots.
Yeah, imagine so. I can't see why it'd be different. Imagine that. Well, I saw this on Suits, so it must work on Boots Maidenhead.
That would be amazing. I want to like, oh, this is going to go down a rabbit hole. I was about to say I want to go in and see if I can buy like deodorant with cocaine, but I've got to go on the cocaine first. I'm not up for that.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll just stick to cash. Like,
I will say that's gone slightly off topic from what I was talking about. I wasn't
a little bit, but I went down like the Power and that sort of.
I wasn't suggesting anyone sells Class A drugs or uses them to purchase things.
Let's not do that. That's a really bad idea. Don't do that. Don't do drugs, kids. Yeah, we went on different series. You went Suits, I went Power.
I think that says a lot about us as people, actually, mate. To be honest, maybe. I think that says a lot about me and what I stand for and what you stand for.
Moving swiftly on. Just a caveat: I do not stand for Class A drugs.
He did do 2 lines before we started.
Correct. And that's you think this is water in this bowl?
No.
It's liquid heroin, very Moorish. There we go. Definitely a thing. I know what I'm talking about. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Right. Anyway, question 3. We're staying on the subject of drugs because my mum thought it was drugs when I first bought a tub of protein home.
Yeah.
So definitely drugs. I got asked, and this was about 2-3 weeks ago. Someone asked me if it mattered if you mix your whey with milk or water. And I think this is the only question we've got where the answer isn't it depends. I think the answer is no. I don't think it matters at all.
No.
Like milk makes it taste better and adds some more calories.
Yeah. The short answer is no. Long answer is not really.
Yeah.
Like you say, milk will make it more calorific, but it will taste nicer. Water is lower calories. If you were to try and maximize absorption rate as much as possible, whey with water would be quicker because the fat in milk would slow down the absorption ever so slightly and mean that it was going to take longer for you to digest, get into your bloodstream, have an effect on protein synthesis. But like, I've not worked with anyone in the years that I've been doing this that is at a level they need to think about that sort of shit. Just no one is. Just drink it with whatever one's going to make you do it and enjoy it. If you're trying to hit a deficit, particularly for if you're female and a little bit smaller, have it with water probably makes most sense because it's just like a couple of hundred liquid calories from milk. It's just a little bit pointless. If you're trying to get more calcium, maybe have it with milk, etc.
Yeah. Or get like a calcium supplement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah. I drink it with milk because it tastes good.
Yeah, I generally do, yeah.
And also I consume like 6,000 calories a day. So
yeah,
that's a couple of hundred I haven't got to worry about. So, you know, there's a thing. I don't think we can elaborate any more on that. That's kind of it, isn't it?
I think so.
So, I mean, summering up. I'm going with that.
Let's summer up. Yeah.
Let's summer up. So
in these bleak winter months, it's always nice to try and summer up wherever possible.
It is fucking awful outside as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
like, it's horrible.
And dark. Yeah.
It's horrible. So earlier on, I was at the gym. My gym, so I'm allowed to be there. Caveat. I was outside though. I was doing farmers runs.
Good.
When I did a set, I did like a length of farmers carries, and then sat there on my phone for 20 minutes because rest period, and then did another set. And in that time, it started raining. What the fuck is this? Like the first one I did was quite nice, and then it just turned really quick. So like, yeah, I'm not feeling this. I want spring to come.
Yeah. And
also, I feel like in spring we might be allowed out
a little bit.
Maybe. I'm clinging to that.
Yeah.
Shout out, Boris. But yeah, to summer up, so training volume coming back from lockdown, don't think it matters really. Just kind of reduce what you were doing before and see how you feel, and then build from there. That's kind of it. How do you balance energy for workouts and other stuff? Again, like, very much depends on the individual. So see how you go. Maybe for a more personal answer to that, like DM either one of us, and we'll probably be able to help with that one. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking for, like, if you're just struggling to get your workouts in or need like an alternative or something else, then I can definitely help with that. If you just feel kind of lethargic and you're not really motivated for things, there could be a nutrition element, in which case, get hold of Charlie. He's your man. But yeah, DM or message us both and play us off each other and see who gives you the best advice, and then go with that one because that's how research works.
Yeah,
it's not, but that. And then milk or water with your whey. Yeah, doesn't matter at all. If you're trying to get more calories in, or you like it to taste better, milk. If you're not that fussy, then water's fine. And I think just before this, when we were talking over the questions, Charlie mentioned like just take a double scoop if you're trying to get calories in, but like
protein,
don't matter.
That's the thing. Milk has more protein in as well, so
yeah.
But you could double scoop with water instead. Up to you.
Yeah. On the subject of milk, this is a very mundane element into my life. I accidentally bought Gold Top the other day.
Ooh.
Oh my god, that shit's amazing.
Yeah.
It's so good. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
Like normally I'm slumming it with Green Top.
Yeah, and me.
But like, oh dude, this shit was amazing. Just like a little litre bottle of Jersey Gold. I recommend it. Like, if you're feeling a bit down about things, just treat yourself to a bit of Gold Top milk.
Fuck it, just go double cream. Why not?
Just sit and drink it.
Pint of double cream and just down it. Because what else have we got to look for?
I feel like a pint of double cream could almost be liquid heroin.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you've gone Class A drugs, so for me to recommend a pint of double cream, whatever I recommend now won't be as detrimental to someone's health.
No, you absolutely smashed it. Yeah, I mean, I've definitely recommended that everyone just start slamming Class A. At least someone's going to say that to me. Someone's going to come on the back of this podcast and go, "You're a terrible person because you told everyone to take heroin and cocaine." Yeah. Because I mentioned it. I didn't. I'm going to need to look in the camera. I didn't. That's not what I recommended. But Charlie, the nutritionist, told everyone to down a pint of double cream. So
that's all right. That's both legal and not going to kill them. Yours,
unless they've got a serious dairy allergy.
Well, all right. They might chance of them dying slim.
Pedantics. Oh man, I've enjoyed this. It's nice to catch up. Like I say, it's been a while, so it's good to have a little catch up and talk some stuff and answer some questions and hopefully help some people, which is always welcome. Here's the bit where we plug ourselves and try and get you to buy stuff from us and work out the next episode. So if you're not interested, then switch off and go listen to something else. If you are, then carry on listening. So I'm Charlie. I'm one of the Charlies.
And me.
And this is another Charlie. But I'm this Charlie. So my thing is training and like strength and working out and stuff. So if you want kind of remote programming or just to help with your lifts and that sort of stuff, if you're brand new to the world of strength sports and you sort of want a bit of an eye through it, then DM me, like get in touch. On Instagram, I'm at Night Strength or at Redbeard Barbell Club. And Charlie is the opposite to that. He's really good at the nutrition stuff, which I'm fucking terrible at. So don't message me for nutrition, and message him. And he is on Instagram at CBNutrition_.
Yep.
And yeah, that's kind of it, really.
I think so.
DM with your questions for next week.
Yes, please.
Happy days. I feel like the next few episodes of this are going to be very much like revolving around what people are doing at home, because I don't see this lockdown ending anytime soon. No. It's quite a bleak thing to say, but let's be realistic. Yeah. I feel like they've extended the furlough scheme till April, which is quite telling.
Have they? I didn't see that.
Yeah. So that's always fun. Yeah.
Based on the rumblings that I've heard, it's going to be next week is what to do with your one outing of the day that you're allowed. That's the way it's going, I think.
Yeah. So I think before long we're going to be on like spam and potatoes.
Yeah, probably.
And like, I don't know. It is what it is. But we can but try and provide a little bit of entertainment and.
Yeah, we should start doing that.
In fact, we still need to do our Instagram live. I feel like that's the thing we definitely need to get on.
Yeah, I'm doing dry January now, so we can't.
Oh,
can't do a drinking game. I know.
That is brutal. Why do people do that? I've never understood dry January or like Veganuary. You give up shit that's good, or like that you enjoy.
Look at me, the picture of health now.
This is true. As I'm leaning back in my chair and it creaks a little bit louder than normal. I got given so much whiskey for Christmas. I feel like everyone sort of realised that working in this industry through a pandemic has been absolute dog shit. And I've probably got about 250, 300 quid worth of whiskey bottles sat in my cupboard at the minute.
Wow.
Like, it's ridiculous. There's some really good shit in there as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd dry January if I had that.
It's not going well. If I did dry January, I failed about an hour into January.
Yeah.
That. So yeah. Okay. Well, let's do our It Depends drinking game Zoom in February then.
Yeah.
That might be a crack. But I feel like it definitely needs to happen. I mean, I'm going to get my calendar up next to me because I can. Oh! So the last Sunday of January, like the last day of January is a Sunday, and then we start February on a Monday. That's dangerous. Like, if we look at it, we might have to just throw that back a week into Feb. I don't know if I want to corrupt you and do the last weekend of January. Just get you battered on an Instagram live. So
I thought you were implying that I stay up till midnight on a Sunday and then just start drinking. Not going to happen.
I mean, I'm far too old for that. I've got a 5-month-old daughter and I'm 32 years old. My days of seeing midnight and over.
Yeah.
I stayed out till midnight on New Year's just to make sure that the calendar went 1st of January and it didn't start like 32nd of December. Like, I just wanted to make sure we were fucking out of last year, man.
I thought it was all right.
And then not a lot happened. But yeah, and then 6 days into this year, 2021, went, yeah, hold my beer.
Yeah.
So we're doing well. We're doing really, really well. I'm fine. Like, I feel like everyone's fine.
But only in the way that, like, your partner would say if you were going to do something she didn't want to do.
Yeah, do it. It's fine.
No, honestly, it's fine. No, go on. It's fine. If you want to do that, it's fine.
No, it's not fine.
No, it was not fine.
I've made that mistake a few times. Like, I'm a very literal person.
Yes.
I don't do well with people go like, oh, it's fine. And I'm like, okay. Awesome, cool. Is it? Are you sure? Because it doesn't seem fine. Oh, no, it's fine. No, okay. Then I'll go and do the thing, and then I realise it wasn't fine. No, I wouldn't fucking say that, man. Yeah, I don't do well on that. But anyways, that's enough waffle. I feel like we've come to a fairly good point to stop. There we go. We've covered off an awful lot of stuff, from whey mixed with water and milk to Class A drugs. We've gone all the way through that. We've covered a good spectrum today. So welcome back. DM us for questions for next week, and we'll see you then.
Cheers.
Hurrah.